Shalom semuanya, bersama saya Romeo Dirk Junior di channel yang spesial menyajikan video kesaksian dan apologet Kristen yang pasti bersumber dari data-data yang valid sesuai materi yang dibahas. Baik, kali ini saya akan menyajikan sebuah video yang diberi judul
There's a question I never thought I'd ask. What do you do when obeying your religion means destroying your soul? I learned the answer in a dim bedroom in Lahore, when the person who gave me life asked me to give her something no son should ever give. My escape from that room became an escape towards something I never expected. A God who said the one word I'd never heard before. Enough.
Baik, untuk mengetahui apa yang dibahas sesuai dengan judul video, mari kita simak video berikut ini sampai selesai. Jangan lupa tinggalkan pesan Anda ataupun komentar Anda di kolom komentar. Terima kasih sudah mampir di channel saya. Semoga video ini dapat menambah pengetahuan Anda pada banyak hal yang selama ini Anda belum ketahui. Kiranya Anda bahagia selalu bersama semua yang Anda cintai. God bless you. Bye.
I heard my father's voice 3 months after he died. Not in a dream, not in my imagination, but standing in our apartment in Shadman, Lahore, at 3 a.m., as real as if he were alive. Rashid, his voice, that commanding tone. What are you doing awake? I spun around, no one there, just shadows. Just the hum of the ceiling fan. Just the distant call of a stray dog in the alley below. But I'd heard him. I know I had. My father, Imam Farouk Ahmed, died of a heart attack during Maghrib prayer in July 2023. I was 21. He was 56, strong, healthy. Suddenly, gone. In Islam, we're taught that the dead can visit in dreams, that they watch over us, that their spirits linger for 40 days. Then depart to Barzakh, the barrier world between life and resurrection. But my father never left. For months after his funeral, I felt him. In the mosque during prayers, in his study when I read his books, in the mirror when I saw my own face becoming more like his. I thought this was normal. Grief, memory, the psychological echo of losing the most powerful person in my life. Until that night in August 2024. 1 year and 1 month after his death, when my mother called me into her room with a request that violated every moral law I knew and claimed my father had told her to do it. That's when I realized some voices aren't meant to be obeyed, some traditions aren't holy, and some beliefs, even beliefs passed down through generations, blessed by religious authority, wrapped in scripture, are just chains. My escape from my mother's room became an escape from everything. My family, my faith, my entire understanding of God. But in losing everything, I found the one voice that didn't demand obedience. It offered love. If you've ever heard voices, religious, cultural, familial, that told you to do something your soul screamed against, I see you, and I need you to see this story through. Subscribe, stay with me, and let's find truth together. My father never smiled at me until I memorized Surah Al-Baqarah perfectly. I was 9 years old. It took me 6 months. Surah Al-Baqarah is the longest chapter in the Quran. 286 verses, over 6,000 words in Arabic. Most adults struggle with it. But my father didn't believe in adjusting standards for children. He believed in breaking us into proper Muslims. Every evening after Asr prayer, I would sit cross-legged on the floor of his study in our apartment in Shadman, Lahore. The room smelled of musk oil and old paper. Shelves lined every wall, crammed with Islamic texts in Arabic, Urdu, and English. A single window overlooked the narrow street below, where rickshaws honked and vendors shouted. But inside that room, the world was silent except for my voice reciting verses and my father's corrections. Again, he would say when I stumbled, just that one word, again. If I protested, If I said I was tired or hungry, his hand would move faster than my excuses, not violently. He never beat me in anger. It was methodical, calculated, a slap across the face, a strike across the knuckles with a wooden ruler. Discipline, he called it. Training. Do you think the prophet, peace be upon him, allowed weakness? He would ask. Do you think the Sahaba complained when they were tired? I learned not to complain. I learned not to cry. I learned to swallow pain and keep reciting. Imam Farooq Ahmed was a man people respected in our neighborhood. He taught Quran at Badshahi Mosque, one of the largest and most beautiful mosques in Lahore, a Mughal masterpiece with red sandstone walls and marble domes. Thousands came to Friday prayers there. My father's voice would echo across the courtyard, strong and unwavering, calling men to righteousness, to submission, to fear of Allah's judgment. At home, he was the same, unwavering, unmerciful. He ruled our three-room apartment like a kingdom. My mother barely spoke unless he asked her a question. I learned to bow my head when he entered a room. I learned to serve him tea exactly how he liked it. 3 spoons of sugar, no milk, in the blue cup with the gold rim. I learned that his word was law, and law was absolute. But beneath his authority, I now realize, was fear. He ruled us because he feared losing control. He demanded perfection because he feared his own imperfection. He punished questions because he feared answers. I didn't see this then. I only saw a man who never smiled, who never hugged me, who never said he loved me, until I memorized Surah Al-Baqarah. That evening, after I recited the final verse without error, he looked at me for a long moment. Then his mouth moved, just slightly. The corners turned upward, a smile, small, brief but real. Good, he said, you've made me proud. I would have walked through fire to hear those words again. I would have done anything. And for the next 12 years, I tried. I prayed 5 times daily. I fasted during Ramadan even when I was too young to be required. I grew my beard. I memorized more surahs. I attended his classes. I became his shadow, his echo, his replica. I didn't know that within 3 years, his control would shatter in a single evening during Maghrib prayer and leave me alone with a secret darker than his strictest punishment. He fell forward during sujood. At first, I thought he was simply prolonging his prostration, as he sometimes did. Then I saw the blood. It was July 18th, 2023, a Tuesday, the evening prayer at Badshahi Mosque. I was standing in the second row, directly behind my father, who always led the congregation. The courtyard was packed with men in white prayer caps and long kurtas. The call to prayer had echoed across Lahore minutes earlier, and now we stood in perfect lines, facing Mecca. My father's voice rose in recitation. Surah Al-Fatiha first as always, then another surah. His voice was strong, clear, no sign of weakness. Then we bowed, straightened, prostrated, and he didn't rise. The man beside him glanced over, waited, then reached out and touched my father's shoulder. No response. Imam Sahib, the man whispered. Nothing. That's when I saw it. A dark spot spreading on the white marble beneath my father's head. Blood, trickling from his nose. The prayer dissolved into chaos. Men broke formation. Voices rose. Someone shouted for a doctor. Hands lifted my father, turned him over. His eyes were open but unseeing, his mouth slack, his body limp. I stood frozen, unable to move, unable to breathe, unable to process what I was seeing. Someone grabbed my arm. Call an ambulance, now! I ran, out of the mosque, into the street. My phone shook in my hands as I dialed, but even as I spoke to the operator, even as I gave the address, I knew. My father was gone. The ambulance arrived within 10 minutes. Paramedics rushed in with equipment, checked his pulse, his breathing, his heart. They worked on him for 20 minutes in the mosque courtyard, while hundreds of men watched in silence. Then one of the paramedics looked up at the gathering crowd and shook his head. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, someone recited. Surely we belong to Allah, and to Him we shall return. The words spread through the crowd like a wave. Men began weeping. Some collapsed to their knees. My father had been beloved, feared, respected, and now in an instant, he was just a body on cold marble. I didn't cry. I stood there numb, watching them cover him with a white sheet. Someone put their hand on my shoulder and said something comforting. I don't remember what. I only remember thinking one thing. I'm alone now. Islamic tradition demands speed. Death to burial in 24 hours. No delays, no embalming, no viewing in a casket, just washing, wrapping, prayer, and earth. They took my father's body to the mosque's washing room. Men I didn't know performed the ritual cleansing while I waited outside. My mother arrived, her face covered, her eyes swollen. She didn't speak, just stood beside me, trembling. The funeral prayer happened the next morning. Thousands came. The courtyard of Badshahi Mosque overflowed with mourners. Men lined up in rows stretching beyond the gates. My father's influence reached far. Then we carried him to Miani Sahib Cemetery, the historic graveyard where saints and scholars are buried. The July heat was unbearable. Sweat soaked through my kurta, but I didn't feel it. I felt nothing. They lowered him into the grave, recited prayers, poured earth over the white shroud, and just like that, the man who had controlled every moment of my life disappeared into the ground. Standing at his grave, I felt relief. Just for a second. Then guilt swallowed it whole. I thought the hardest part was over. I thought grief was the worst thing I'd face. I had no idea that 1 year later, in that same apartment, I'd encounter something that made death look merciful. My mother stopped speaking in complete sentences. Just words. Food, prayer, sleep. In the weeks after my father's death, she became a ghost. She moved through our apartment like a shadow, performing necessary actions but never truly present. Cooking bland meals neither of us ate, praying for hours in her room, sleeping fitfully, often crying through the night. I could hear her through the thin walls, low broken sobs that stretched into the early morning hours. Sometimes she would call my father's name. Farouk, Farouk, as if he might answer, as if death were reversible through enough longing. I tried to comfort her. I sat beside her, brought her tea, read the Quran to her. But she looked through me, not at me. Her eyes were elsewhere, fixed on a past I couldn't access. The community rallied at first. Neighbors brought food. Women from the mosque visited, offering condolences and prayers. But after 40 days, the traditional mourning period, the visits stopped. Life moved on. Everyone except my mother. She began covering herself more heavily. Where before she wore a simple hijab at home, now she was fully veiled even in our apartment. Black abaya, black niqab, black gloves, as if she were erasing herself piece by piece. I became the man of the house by default. At 21, I inherited my father's responsibilities. I took over his Quran classes for young boys in the neighborhood. 3 evenings a week, 8 to 10 children would gather in our sitting room, and I would teach them what my father taught me. Memorization, recitation, obedience. The mosque offered me a small stipend for the teaching. It wasn't much, but combined with my part-time work at a bookstore near Anarkali Bazaar, we survived. Barely. I led prayers at home. I handled bills. I made decisions about household matters. I said all the right things to concerned neighbors who asked how we were managing. Alhamdulillah, Allah provides. We are managing. But I wasn't managing. I was drowning. Every day felt like a performance. Wake for Fajr prayer. Pray. Read the Quran. Work. Teach. Pray. Sleep. Repeat. My father's routines had become mine. His life was consuming me from beyond the grave. I started noticing changes in my reflection. My beard was fuller, my posture straighter, my expression harder. I was becoming him, and part of me welcomed it. If I became my father, maybe I could fill the void he left. Maybe I could earn my mother's attention again. Maybe I could prove I was worthy of the family name. But another part of me, a quieter part, felt trapped. Late at night, when the prayers were done and my mother was asleep, I would sit by the window and stare at Lahore's skyline. The lights, the traffic, the distant sounds of a city that never truly slept. And I would feel something I couldn't name, a restlessness, a hunger, a question I didn't know how to ask. Is this all there is? I pushed the question away. It felt like blasphemy. Islam provided everything: structure, purpose, community, paradise if I obeyed, Hell, if I strayed, what more could I want? But the question lingered. 3 months after my father's death, I started noticing my mother watching me. Not as a mother watches a son, differently. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. Grief does strange things to people. She was traumatized, depressed. Her stares meant nothing, but they continued during meals, during prayers, while I taught the Quran in the sitting room. I would glance up and find her eyes on me, intense and unreadable behind her niqab. "Ami, are you okay?" I asked once. She nodded, looked away, said nothing. The months dragged on. August 2023, September, October. The first anniversary of my father's death approached. My mother's silence deepened. Her already minimal eating decreased to almost nothing. She spent entire days in her room, door closed, only emerging for prayer. I worried she might harm herself. I consulted with the imam at Badshahi Mosque. He suggested patience, prayer, and possibly a doctor. "Grief takes time," he said. "Give her space. Allah will heal her." So I waited and prayed and hoped time would heal what was clearly breaking. Then came the night of August 15th, 2024. The night the jasmine perfume filled our apartment. The night everything changed. If you've made it this far, you understand this isn't just a story. It's a testimony, a warning, a lifeline for someone who needs it. Please subscribe and share this. Someone in your life needs to hear it. She was sitting on the bed, hair uncovered, robe loose, eyes empty and full at the same time. I had returned from Isha prayer at the mosque around 9 p.m. The August heat hadn't broken despite the late hour. Our third-floor apartment felt like an oven. I climbed the stairs slowly, tired from teaching a particularly difficult Quran class earlier that evening. When I opened the door, I froze. The lights were dimmed. Candles flickered in the sitting room, casting dancing shadows on the walls. And that smell, jasmine perfume, thick and cloying, filled the air. My mother never wore perfume anymore, not since my father's death. "Rashid," her voice called from her bedroom, soft, almost musical. My heart began pounding. Something was wrong. The atmosphere felt charged, dangerous, like the air before a thunderstorm. "Ami," I called back, my voice uncertain. "Come here, Beta. I need to speak with you." I walked to her doorway and stopped. She was sitting on her bed, the one she'd shared with my father. But she looked different. Her hijab was off. Her long black hair, streaked with gray, hung loose around her shoulders. She wore a deep red robe, not the shapeless black abayas she'd worn for months. The robe was tied loosely, revealing more than I'd seen since I was a child. Her face, usually covered, was bare. Makeup, lipstick, kohl around her eyes. She looked like she had at my uncle's wedding years ago, before my father's death, before the grief. Beautiful, but wrong. Terribly wrong. "Sit beside me," she said, patting the bed. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but she was my mother. She'd been suffering for a year. Maybe this was a breakthrough. Maybe she was finally healing, trying to return to life. I sat on the edge of the bed, maintaining distance. My hands trembled. She took my hand in hers. Her skin was warm, soft. She stared at our joined hands for a long moment, then looked up at me with tears in her eyes. "You look so much like him," she whispered. "Every day, more and more." I'm trying to honor his memory, Ami." She nodded, smiled, a strange, distant smile. Then she spoke the words that shattered my world. "You are the man of this house now. You've taken his place in everything else. It's time you take his place, completely." I didn't understand. My mind refused to process what her tone suggested. "What do you mean?" She squeezed my hand tighter, moved closer. "In our family, there is a tradition, a hidden tradition. When a husband dies, the eldest son, he becomes the husband, to keep the family pure, to keep the bloodline strong, to honor Allah's design." My stomach turned. Cold sweat broke out across my back. "Ami, what are you saying?" "I'm saying you must fulfill your duty. Your father told me, before he died, he said if anything happened to him, you would take care of me, in every way." I yanked my hand away, standing so fast I nearly fell. This is wrong. This is haram. This is evil. Her expression hardened. Don't you dare speak to me about haram. I know Islam better than you. There are things, secret things, traditions older than the Quran, ways the righteous families maintain their purity. This isn't Islam, I said, my voice shaking. This is insanity. This is sin. She stood now too, her face twisting with anger and something else. Desperation. Your father knew. He approved. He told me you would understand when the time came. He said you would be strong enough. My father would never. I couldn't finish. My mind was reeling. Was this true? Had my father known about this? Was this really some hidden practice? No, impossible. My father was strict, but not this, unless. I thought about the closed-door meetings he sometimes had with other elders, the whispered conversations that stopped when I entered rooms, the texts he read that I wasn't allowed to see, the times he'd mentioned deeper truths that only mature believers could understand. Had there been secrets I didn't know? My mother stepped closer. I have been patient for a year. I have mourned. I have waited. But I cannot wait anymore, Rashid. I need my husband back. And you are your father's son. You are. No, I said firmly. I am not doing this. This is wrong. I don't care what tradition you think exists. I don't care what father allegedly said. This is incest, and this is abuse. This is. She slapped me, hard. The crack echoed in the small room. How dare you, she hissed. How dare you call your mother's request abuse? I gave you life. I raised you. I sacrificed everything for you. And now when I ask for one thing to ease my suffering, you call me evil? Tears were streaming down her face, but her eyes held something that terrified me. Not just pain, not just loneliness, but genuine belief. She truly thought this was right. She truly believed this was acceptable, even holy. My body moved before my mind could catch up. I turned. I walked out of the room. She called after me, her voice rising. Rashid, come back. Don't you walk away from me. Don't you dare abandon me like. I ran, not walking, running, down 3 flights of stairs, nearly tripping, catching myself on the railing, out the building's front door, into the Lahore night. The street was busy despite the hour. Rickshaws honked. Families walked past eating kulfi. Street vendors sold chaat and samosas. Normal life, normal people, living normal evenings. And I was running from my mother's bedroom where she'd asked me to become her husband. I kept running until my lungs burned, until the familiar streets of Shadman gave way to unfamiliar neighborhoods, until I had no idea where I was. Then I collapsed against a wall in some alley, gasping for air, and vomited. When there was nothing left in my stomach, I slid down to the ground and sat there in the dark, hugging my knees, shaking. What just happened? Was any of it real? Was I going insane? But I could still smell the jasmine perfume on my clothes, could still feel her hand gripping mine, could still hear her words. You must take his place, completely. For the first time in my life, I questioned everything. If this was what Islam allowed in secret, if this was what righteous families did, if this was what my father had approved, what else was hidden? What else was a lie? And most terrifying of all, what if I stayed? What if I went back? What if out of duty or guilt or fear, I obeyed? I would lose my soul. I knew it with absolute certainty. Whatever remained of my humanity, my dignity, myself, it would die in that bedroom. So I made a decision in that alley, a decision that would cost me everything. I wasn't going back, ever. The sun would rise in a few hours, and when it did, I would still be gone. No plan, no money, no destination, just the knowledge that some prisons wear the face of family. Some chains are forged from religious obligation, and breaking them, even if it meant homelessness, hunger, and complete isolation, was the only way to survive. I walked for 6 hours, past Data Darbar Shrine, past the old city walls, past everything familiar. Lahore at night is a different city. The heat breaks slightly. The daytime chaos gives way to a quieter rhythm, but the streets are never truly empty. There are always people. Laborers heading to early shifts, homeless families sleeping on sidewalks, police patrols, tea stalls that stay open all night serving truck drivers and insomniacs. I join the invisible people, the ones no one looks at directly, the ones moving through the city's margins. My phone buzzed constantly in my pocket. My mother, my uncle, numbers I didn't recognize. I turned it off. Whatever they wanted to say, I couldn't hear it. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I walked past the grand Badshahi Mosque where my father had taught, where he died. The red sandstone walls glowed under spotlights. Beautiful, majestic, a monument to faith. I felt nothing looking at it. By midnight, I'd reached Shalimar Gardens, the famous Mughal gardens with fountains and pavilions. The gates were closed, but the walls weren't difficult to scale. I found a hidden spot behind some trees and sat down on the grass. My body finally stopped moving, and reality crashed in. I was homeless. I had maybe 300 rupees in my pocket. Enough for a few meals, nothing more. I had no plan, no friends I could trust with this, nowhere to go. And I was hungry. I hadn't eaten since lunch, and my stomach was cramping. But more than hunger, I felt lost. Completely, utterly lost. For 22 years. My entire life had been structured. Wake at this time, pray at these times, study these texts, believe these truths, obey these authorities. Now, sitting in the dark garden, I had none of that. No structure, no authority, no certainty, just questions. Why had my mother believed that was acceptable? Where had that idea come from? Was it real tradition or her own delusion born from grief? And my father, had he really approved? Or was that a lie she'd constructed to justify her request? I wanted to believe it was all her madness, but doubt gnawed at me. I'd seen my father's private library, books on Islamic jurisprudence I wasn't allowed to read, texts about controversial rulings, historical practices, things he said I wasn't ready for. What if there were secrets in Islam I didn't know? Dark corners that contradicted everything taught publicly? The doubt felt like poison. I tried to push it away, to pray it away. I began the familiar words, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. But my voice died. For the first time in my life, the prayer felt hollow. The words felt like sounds without meaning. I sat there in silence, watching the moon through the trees. Hours passed. The sky began to lighten. Dawn was approaching. Fajr, the first prayer of the day. I'd prayed Fajr every single day since I was 7 years old. I stayed sitting, didn't move, didn't wash, didn't face Mecca. The call to prayer echoed across Lahore from 1,000 mosques, a haunting chorus calling the faithful to worship. I listened, and I didn't pray. Not because I forgot, because I refused. If this was what Islam led to, if this was where blind obedience ended, then I wanted no part of it. The sun rose over Lahore, golden and indifferent, and I sat there, officially having missed my first prayer in 15 years. I expected to feel guilt, shame, fear of Allah's punishment. Instead, I felt nothing. Empty. Hollow. I stood up, brushed grass off my clothes, and started walking again. Nowhere in particular, just moving. I passed morning vendors setting up fruit stands, old men heading to mosques, children in uniform walking to school. The city waking up, and I was just a shadow among them, anonymous, untethered. By mid-morning, I found myself near Iqbal Park, a large public space named after the poet-philosopher Allama Iqbal. Families picnicked there. Couples walked. Beggars worked the crowds. I sat on a bench, exhausted, watching people live normal lives. That's when I saw him, an old man sitting on a bench across the pathway. Maybe 60, simple clothes, weathered face, kind eyes, and he was watching me with an expression I couldn't read. Not judgment, not pity, something else. Recognition. Like he knew something about me without me saying a word. Then he did something that changed everything. He reached into a worn cloth bag beside him and pulled out a small brown book. He looked at it, looked at me, then stood and started walking toward me. My first instinct was to run. Strange men approaching young men in parks usually meant trouble, but something held me there. Maybe exhaustion, maybe curiosity, maybe something deeper I didn't understand yet. He stopped in front of my bench and smiled gently. "You look lost," he said in Urdu. I wanted to deny it, to say I was fine, but instead tears filled my eyes. I nodded. He sat beside me uninvited, but somehow not intrusive. For a long moment, we just sat there in silence. Then he spoke again, and his words hit me like lightning. "You're Farouk's son, aren't you?" I flinched, stared at him. Nobody had called my father by his first name in years. It was always Imam Sahib or Maulana Farouk. How do you know that?" He smiled. "I knew your father. Long ago. Before he became who he became. Who are you?" "My name now is Marcus, but your father knew me as Mahmoud." My blood ran cold. You're... "Yes," he said softly. "I'm a convert. I left Islam 15 years ago." I should have stood up, should have walked away, should have condemned him as an apostate, but I stayed. Because for the first time in 24 hours, I felt like I'd met someone who might understand. He spoke before I could respond. "You ran from something, didn't you? Something that made you question everything." I couldn't answer, couldn't admit it out loud, but my silence was answer enough. Marcus nodded slowly, as if confirming something he already knew. I recognized the look. I've seen it before, in my own mirror 15 years ago. "You knew my father?" I asked, desperate to change the subject from myself. "We studied together, same madrasa in our youth, before he became an imam, before I became this." He gestured at himself. "We were friends once, brothers even, until I started asking questions he refused to entertain." "What kind of questions?" Marcus was quiet for a moment, studying me. "Are you sure you want to know? Some questions once asked cannot be unasked. Some doors once opened cannot be closed." I thought about my mother's bedroom, the jasmine perfume, the request that shattered my understanding of right and wrong. Some doors were already open. "Tell me," I said. I questioned the contradictions, the violence in certain hadith, the treatment of women, the punishment for apostasy, the concept of a God who creates people, then condemns most of them to eternal fire for not believing correctly. He paused. "Your father had answers for all of it, explanations, context, but his answers never satisfied me. They felt like walls built to keep questions out, not bridges to lead toward truth." "So you left?" "I wrestled for years, studied more, prayed more, sought guidance from scholars, but the questions only multiplied. And then," he looked at me directly, "I met someone who didn't give me answers. He gave me peace." "Who?" "Jesus." I flinched at the name. In Islam, we called him Isa, a prophet, a messenger, born of a virgin, performed miracles, but definitely not God, definitely not a savior, just another in a long line of prophets leading to Muhammad, the final and greatest. "Isa is a prophet in Islam too," I said defensively. "I know, but he's more than that, much more." Marcus reached into his bag and pulled out the brown book I'd seen earlier, a Bible. The Jesus of the Quran is sanitized, safe, distant, but the Jesus of the Gospels, he's alive, present, radical. He doesn't demand submission through fear. He offers relationship through love. I stared at the Bible in his hands. In my world, that book was corrupted, changed, unreliable. We were taught that Christians had altered their scriptures, which is why Allah sent the Quran as the final, uncorrupted revelation. But looking at it now, I felt something unexpected. Curiosity. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because I see myself in you, and I see your father in you too. The you that's scared to question, that wants to obey, that fears punishment. But I also see the you that's sitting on this bench instead of at morning prayer. The you that ran from something. The you that's searching. How did he know I'd missed Fajr? Could he see it in my face? "I can't," I started, then stopped. "I can't read that. It's forbidden." "By whom?" By Allah. By the Quran. "The Quran says to reject corrupted scriptures. But what if they're not corrupted? What if you've been lied to about what's inside?" Marcus held out the Bible toward me. I'm not asking you to convert. I'm asking you to read, to investigate, to seek truth for yourself instead of accepting what you've been told. My hands trembled. Everything in my training screamed not to touch it, but everything in my heart from the last 24 hours screamed that something was deeply wrong with the religion I'd been following. What if the wrongness wasn't an aberration? What if it was the system itself? I reached out slowly and took the Bible. It was heavier than I expected, worn, well-read, loved. Start with the Gospel of John, Marcus said. Chapter 1. Just read it. If it's false, you'll know. If it's true, he smiled gently. You'll know that too. What happened to you? I asked. After you converted. Your family. His smile faded. They disowned me. My wife divorced me. My children were told I was dead. I lost everything. Then why? Because I found something worth more than everything. I found truth. I found freedom. I found a God who doesn't just demand obedience, but offers love. Unconditional, unearned, unreasonable love. He stood up. Your father and I parted badly. He threatened to report me to authorities, to have me punished for apostasy. I had to flee Lahore for several years, but I'm back now, and I help others who are questioning. Others like you. I'm not like you, I said quickly. I'm not converting. I'm just confused right now. That's all. Marcus nodded, but his eyes held knowing. That's how it starts. Confusion, questions, then answers you didn't expect. He pointed at the Bible. Read John chapter 3, verse 16. Just that one verse. If it doesn't move you, throw the book away. But if it does, find me again. Same bench. Every Friday at this time. He started to walk away, then turned back. One more thing. What's your name? Rashid. Rashid. In Arabic, that means rightly guided. May you be guided to truth, whatever the cost. And then he was gone, disappearing into the morning crowds of Iqbal Park. I sat there alone holding a Bible, my mind spinning. I looked around nervously. What if someone saw me? What if someone from the mosque recognized me? But no one was paying attention. The park was full of people absorbed in their own lives. I opened the cover carefully. The pages were thin, almost translucent. Notes were written in the margins in both Urdu and English. I found the Gospel of John, chapter 1, and I began to read. I held the Bible like it might explode. In my world, touching it was apostasy. Reading it was unthinkable. But I was already unthinkable. I'd run from my home, missed prayers, questioned Islam. What was one more forbidden act? I found a secluded spot in Iqbal Park, behind a cluster of trees where I could read without being easily seen. My heart pounded as I opened to the Gospel of John, chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I stopped. Read it again. The Word was God. In Islam, we believe the Quran is Allah's word, but it's created, revealed to Muhammad through the angel Jibril. But here, this gospel was saying the word itself was God. Not just from God, but was God. It felt blasphemous. But I kept reading. Through him all things were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. The light shines in the darkness. Something cracked open in my chest. I'd spent the entire night in darkness, literal and metaphorical, running through dark streets from a dark truth in a dark room. Was there light? Real light? I read faster now, the words pulling me forward. John the Baptist, testimonies. Then verse 14 hit me like a physical blow. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. God became flesh. God became human. In Islam, this is shirk, the worst sin, associating partners with Allah. Claiming God could be anything other than transcendent, separate, holy other. But this said, God came down. God became touchable. God walked among humanity. Why would God do that? I kept reading, skimming through the chapter, then found John chapter 3. Marcus had mentioned verse 16 specifically. I found it. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. My eyes blurred with tears. God so loved the world. In Islam, Allah is not described as loving the world. He loves those who obey. He loves the righteous. He loves those who do good works. But the world, sinners, rebels, we're taught Allah's mercy is conditional. Earn it. Prove yourself worthy. Submit. Obey. Fast. Pray. Then maybe if you've done enough, you'll earn his favor. But this verse said God loved first, before anyone earned it. Loved so much he gave his son. I didn't fully understand what that meant yet, but I felt its weight, its impossibility, its beauty. I spent 3 hours reading. John chapter 1 through 7. The stories of Jesus healing the sick, feeding 5,000 people with a boy's lunch, walking on water, claiming to be the bread of life. In his words, so different from anything in the Quran. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Weary, I was weary, exhausted from years of trying to earn Allah's approval, exhausted from my father's expectations, exhausted from the burden of being the perfect Muslim, and Jesus was offering rest, not more rules, rest. I am the way and the truth and the life. Truth. That's what Marcus had said he found. Not a system, not a religion, but truth personified in a person. By afternoon, I was physically hungry and emotionally overwhelmed. I closed the Bible and just sat there processing. This Jesus, he was nothing like the Isa I'd been taught about. The Quranic Isa was a prophet, respectful, distant, safe. This Jesus was claiming to be God, forgiving sins, offering salvation not through works but through belief. It should have felt wrong, blasphemous, evil, but it felt true. I don't know how else to describe it. Like something in my soul recognized these words. Like I'd been searching my entire life for this message and didn't know it. But accepting it would mean rejecting Islam, rejecting my father, rejecting my entire identity. Could I do that? I thought about my mother's request, about the hidden tradition she'd claimed existed, about my father's secret books, about the questions I'd suppressed for years. What was I really rejecting? Truth? Or a system that protected lies? The sun was setting. I hadn't eaten all day. I had nowhere to sleep. I was technically homeless, with no plan beyond the next few hours. But I had this book, and for the first time in my life I had hope. Not hope in a system, not hope in my own righteousness, but hope in a person who said, "Come to me." That night I found another bench in the park. As darkness fell and the park emptied, I wrapped my arms around myself and whispered something I'd never said before. Jesus, if you're real, if you're more than what I've been told, if you're really God who became human, show me. Please, I need to know. I need to see. It wasn't eloquent. It wasn't the structured prayers I'd been taught, but it was honest, raw, desperate. I closed my eyes, hugging the Bible to my chest. And for the first time in days, I felt peace. Not answers, not certainty, just peace. A peace that whispered, "You're on the right path." For the first time since I was 9 years old, first memorizing Surah Al-Baqarah, I slept without fear. I fell asleep on that bench, and I dreamed. But it wasn't like dreaming. It was like remembering something I'd never experienced. I was standing in a room. No, not a room, a void. Darkness pressed in from all sides, thick and suffocating. I tried to move, but my feet felt cemented to the ground. I tried to speak, but no sound came out. Fear gripped me. Not fear of something in the darkness, but fear of the darkness itself, like it was alive, hungry, consuming. I'd felt this before, in my father's study when he'd punished me, in my mother's bedroom with the jasmine perfume. In every moment of my life when I'd tried to be good enough, righteous enough, obedient enough, and failed. The darkness was the weight of never measuring up, of earning love that never came, of serving a God who remained distant no matter how much I submitted. Then, light. Small at first, a pinpoint in the distance, but growing, spreading, warm and golden, pushing back the darkness like dawn breaking after the longest night. a figure emerged from the light, a man in white. I couldn't see his face clearly, but I felt his presence like I'd never felt anything before. Not fear, not judgment, but home, like my soul recognized him even though I'd never met him. He walked toward me and the darkness fled from his path. Where he stepped, solid ground appeared. Where his light touched, life bloomed. He stopped in front of me and stretched out his hands. I saw scars, deep, old but somehow fresh, in his palms, in his wrists. "Come," he said. His voice was gentle but carried absolute authority. Not the authority of my father, which demanded obedience through fear, but authority that commanded respect through love. I can't," I whispered, finding my voice. "I'm not worthy. I'm dirty. I've questioned. I've doubted. I've run from my family. I've failed." He smiled. The scars in his hands seemed to glow. "Rashid, do you think you're the first to question, to doubt, to run?" He gestured at the scars. "These are for the questioners, the doubters, the runners. These are for you. I don't understand. You've spent your life trying to earn love, but love isn't earned. It's given." He reached out and placed his scarred hand on my chest, over my heart. "You are not dirty. You are not abandoned. You are not lost. You are mine. You always were." Warmth spread from his touch, flooding through my body. Every broken place, every wound, every shame. The warmth didn't erase them, but it transformed them, made them bearable, made them meaningful. Tears poured down my face. "Who are you?" But I already knew. In my soul I knew. "I am the way, the truth, the life." He smiled again. "I am the answer to every question you've been afraid to ask. I am the light in every darkness you've run from. I am the love you've been searching for your entire life." "Jesus," I whispered. "Yes, but I'm Muslim. I was raised to reject you, to deny you, to believe you're not God. And yet here you are. Not because you earned this moment, but because I called you. I've been calling you your whole life, Rashid. In every moment you felt there had to be more. In every question your father punished. In every prayer that felt empty. I was there, waiting, calling." The light grew brighter, too bright to look at directly, but it didn't hurt. It felt like being seen, fully, completely. Every hidden sin, every secret shame, every dark thought laid bare. And instead of condemnation, I felt acceptance. "Come," he said again, "follow me." "What will it cost?" "Everything." He said it simply, honestly. "Your family, your identity, your security, everything you've known." "And what will I gain?" He spread his arms and the light expanded, revealing a vista I can't describe. Beauty, truth, life, love, peace, joy. All of it flowing from him like a river. "Me," he said, "you'll gain me, and I am enough." I believed him. In that moment, I believed him completely. I stepped forward, reached for his scarred hands, grasped them, and woke up. I gasped, sitting upright on the bench. Dawn was breaking over Lahore. The city was waking up. Birds sang. The air was cool and fresh, but I was shaking, crying, breathing hard like I'd run a marathon. The dream? No, not a dream. A vision, an encounter. Jesus had spoken to me. Jesus, not Isa the prophet, but Jesus the Christ, Jesus the Son of God, Jesus the Savior. I'd seen him, felt him, heard him, and I knew with absolute certainty that my life had just changed forever. I looked down at the Bible still clutched in my arms, opened it randomly. My eyes fell on words in the book of Matthew. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The same invitation, the same voice, the same Jesus. I slid off the bench onto my knees on the ground, not caring who saw me, and whispered the most dangerous prayer I'd ever prayed. "Jesus, I don't fully understand you. I don't know how to follow you. I don't know what happens next. But I want to. I want to follow you. I want to know you. I want the love you showed me. Please help me, guide me, save me. The sun rose over Lahore, and for the first time in 22 years of life, I felt truly alive. This is where the story turns, where running from becomes running toward. If this resonates with your own spiritual searching, don't walk this alone. Subscribe, comment, connect. Let's journey together. I found a church 3 days later, not a grand cathedral, a small house church in Model Town, hidden in plain sight. Those 3 days between my dream and finding the church were a blur. I survived on the small amount of money I had, buying cheap street food, sleeping in parks, staying mobile to avoid being found by my family. My phone remained off. I knew they were looking for me, knew my mother was probably panicking, knew my uncle would be organizing a search, but I couldn't go back. Not yet, maybe not ever. I needed answers. I needed guidance. I needed to understand what had happened to me and what it meant. Marcus had said he'd be at the park every Friday, but that was 5 days away. I couldn't wait, so I searched, carefully, discreetly. Churches in Pakistan aren't like mosques. They don't advertise with loudspeakers and minarets. The Christian community is small and often hidden, especially from Muslims. Conversion from Islam is technically punishable by death under Pakistan's blasphemy laws, though it's rarely enforced that severely. Still, Christians are careful. I asked street vendors. Watch for crosses hidden in shop windows. Followed people I suspected might be Christian. Finally, a kind elderly shopkeeper, after I nervously asked if he knew where Christians worshipped, studied me for a long moment. Then he wrote an address on a scrap of paper. Go on Saturday evening, he said quietly. Tell them Samuel sent you. They'll know what that means. Saturday evening, I found the house in Model Town, a middle-class neighborhood of Lahore. It looked like any other house, gated, simple, unassuming. I stood outside for 10 minutes, terrified. What if this was a trap? What if they rejected me? What if I was making the biggest mistake of my life? But the memory of the dream pushed me forward. Jesus had said, "Follow me." And this was following. I knocked. A young man answered, maybe 30, with kind eyes. He looked me up and down, noted my traditional Islamic clothing, my beard, and smiled gently. Samuel sent you? I nodded. You're safe here. Come in. Inside, about 20 people sat in a simple living room, plastic chairs arranged in a circle, men and women together, which was strange to me. In mosques, we were always separated. They were singing, not in Arabic, but in Urdu and Punjabi. Simple songs with guitars and drums. The words were about Jesus' love, his sacrifice, his presence. I stood awkwardly by the door until the young man who'd let me in gestured for me to sit. I took a chair in the back. The singing was unlike anything I'd experienced. In mosques, we recited Quran, chanted, but this was different. Personal, joyful, like they were singing to someone they knew, not about a distant deity. When the singing ended, a man in his 50s stood up. He had a weathered face, graying beard, and wore a simple shalwar kameez like everyone else. Welcome, he said, his eyes landing on me immediately. We have a new brother joining us tonight. Welcome. Everyone turned to look at me. I wanted to disappear, but their faces held no judgment, just warmth, curiosity, welcome. I'm not sure I'm a brother yet, I said quietly. I'm just searching. The older man smiled. Searching is how it begins. My name is David. I'm the pastor here. He paused. I used to be called Dawood. I was Muslim for 43 years. Then Jesus found me. My breath caught. Another former Muslim. How many of you, I started then stopped. Converted from Islam, David finished. About half of us. The rest are from Christian families. But we're all one family now. In Christ, there is no Muslim or Christian. No past identity. Just new creation. The meeting continued. David taught from the Bible, explaining passages, answering questions. The atmosphere was so different from my father's Quran classes. There was discussion, disagreement, laughter. Questions were welcomed, not punished. After the service ended, David approached me. Walk with me. We stepped into a small courtyard behind the house. He offered me tea, which I accepted gratefully. Tell me your story, he said simply. And I did. Everything. My father's death, my mother's request, running away, meeting Marcus, reading the Bible, the dream. David listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. You've encountered Jesus, he finally said. Not just an idea of him, and now you're at a crossroads. You can walk away, go back to Islam, pretend this never happened, or you can follow where he's leading. I want to follow, I said, but I don't know how. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't even have a place to sleep. We'll help with that. We have a network. Safe houses for people in your situation. He smiled. You're not the first Muslim we've helped transition, and you won't be the last. What happens next? You learn, you study, you pray. You let Jesus transform you from the inside out. It's not about changing religions. It's about encountering the living God and letting him change everything. He paused. But I must be honest with you, Rashid. The cost is real. Your family will likely disown you. Your community will reject you. You may face threats, even violence. Following Jesus in Pakistan as a convert from Islam is not safe. I know, I said. He showed me in the dream. It will cost everything. And is he worth it? I thought about the darkness, the light, the scarred hands, the words, "You are mine." Yes, I said, he's worth it. David placed his hand on my shoulder. Then welcome, brother. Welcome to the family. For the first time since my father's death, maybe for the first time in my life, I felt I belonged somewhere. Not because of what I could perform, but because of who I was. A son, not of Farouk Ahmed, but of God. I spent 2 weeks reading, not just the Bible, the Quran too, comparing, questioning, breaking. David set me up in a small room in the house of an elderly Christian couple, Mr. and Mrs. Peter. They asked no questions, demanded no rent, simply welcomed me. Their kindness was staggering. Every day I studied. David gave me books, theological texts, testimonies of other Muslim converts, histories of early Christianity and Islam, but mostly I read the Bible and reread the Quran, comparing them side by side. The differences were stark. In the Quran, Allah is transcendent, distant, unknowable in any personal sense. He doesn't love sinners. He loves the righteous, the obedient, the faithful. In the Bible, God pursues sinners, loves enemies, sacrifices himself for rebels. The Quran presents salvation as a scale, good deeds on one side, bad deeds on the other. Hope that the good outweighs the bad, but no certainty, no assurance. Even Muhammad wasn't sure of his own salvation. The Bible presents salvation as a gift, unearned, received by faith, certain because it depends on Jesus, not on us. I'd spent my entire life trying to tip the scale. More prayers, more fasting, more memorization, always anxious, always uncertain, always one sin away from damnation. And here was Jesus saying, "It is finished, done, complete. Salvation accomplished not by my works, but by his sacrifice." Then there was the issue of character. I read about Muhammad's life, his marriages, including to Aisha when she was 6, his military campaigns, the executions he ordered, the slaves he owned. I'd been taught these were all justified. Context, different times, Allah's permission. But reading with fresh eyes, I couldn't reconcile it. Not when I compared it to Jesus. Jesus, who never married, never fought, never killed, who touched lepers, defended prostitutes, washed his disciples' feet, who let himself be murdered rather than call down angels to destroy his enemies. Love your enemies, Jesus said. Bless those who persecute you. Fight those who do not believe in Allah, the Quran said. Strike terror into the hearts of the enemies of Allah. How could both be from the same God? They couldn't. One was true, one was false. And the more I read, the more certain I became which was which. The crucifixion became the central issue. Islam denies it happened, claims Allah substituted someone else, made it appear Jesus died, but rescued him at the last moment. Why? Because in Islam, prophets don't die humiliating deaths. They triumph, they conquer. But Christianity claims the opposite, that God himself died, humiliated, tortured, executed like a criminal. It made no sense. Unless that was the point. Unless God was showing that his power is made perfect in weakness, that his love is demonstrated not through conquering but through sacrifice, that salvation comes not from strength but from surrender. I read Paul's letters. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. Foolishness? Yes, it was foolish. God dying for sinners? Absurd. But it was also beautiful, profound, true in a way that resonated deeper than logic. I spent hours in tears, wrestling with it all, grieving what I was losing, marveling at what I was gaining. David met with me daily, answering questions, guiding me through difficult passages, sharing his own journey. I was an imam, he told me one evening, taught at a mosque in Faisalabad, respected, successful. Then my daughter got sick, cancer. I prayed to Allah every day, followed every ritual, begged for her healing. He paused, eyes distant. She died, 7 years old, and I was angry. Angry at Allah, angry at Islam, angry at a religion that gave me no comfort, no assurance, just more rules to follow while my daughter suffered. What changed? A Christian nurse at the hospital. She prayed for my daughter every day. Not that Allah would heal her, but that Jesus would comfort her, give her peace. And in those final weeks, my daughter had peace, real peace. She said she saw Jesus in her room, said he promised he'd be waiting for her. Tears rolled down David's weathered face. After she died, I couldn't shake it. The peace she'd had, the certainty. So I started reading the Bible, intending to disprove it, to show that nurse she was wrong. He smiled through tears. But instead, I found the truth. I found Jesus. And I realized my daughter was with him, really with him. Not waiting in Barzakh, not uncertain, but home. Stories like David's, testimonies from others in the church, the Bible's own accounts. They all pointed to the same reality. Jesus wasn't just a prophet. He was and is God. He died. He rose. He offers salvation not through our effort, but through his finished work. On September 3rd, 2024, 2 weeks after my dream, I made my decision. I told David, I believe Jesus is Lord. I believe he died for me. I believe he rose. I believe he's calling me. And I want to follow him, fully, completely, no matter the cost. David smiled, eyes shining. Then let's make it official. That evening in that small house church, surrounded by former Muslims who'd walked this road before me, I did the unthinkable. I confessed Jesus as Lord, and I meant it. They baptized me in secret, not in the Ravi River where we'd be seen, but in a large basin in someone's home. Baptism in Pakistan for a Muslim convert isn't just a religious ceremony. It's a declaration of war against your family, your community, your entire former identity. David explained it to me beforehand. In baptism, you're symbolically dying with Christ and rising to new life. Your old self, Rashid the Muslim, Farouk's son, dies. And a new creation emerges. Rashid the Christian, God's son. Do I need a new name? I asked. Some converts took Christian names. Marcus had been Mahmoud. Only if you want one. Your name Rashid means rightly guided. That's beautiful. You've been rightly guided to Jesus. Keep it. The night of my baptism, about 30 people gathered in a basement. They'd done this many times before. The routine was practiced. Quiet, secure. David had me change into simple white clothes. We stood before the basin, filled with water. Rashid, do you confess Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior? David asked. My voice shook, but the words were clear. I do. Do you renounce Islam and all false teachings? This was harder. Islam had been my entire identity, my father's legacy, my childhood, my world. But I thought about my mother's request. The darkness in that bedroom, the lies I'd been taught, the distant, angry God I'd served. And I thought about Jesus, the light, the scars, the love. I do, I said firmly. Do you commit to follow Jesus, no matter the cost? I do. David smiled. Then I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. He placed his hand on my back and guided me backward into the water. The water closed over my head, cold and shocking. In that moment, submerged, I felt it. The dying, every prayer to Allah, every verse memorized, every ritual performed, every attempt to earn salvation, all of it drowning, ending. Then David lifted me up. I broke the surface, gasping, water streaming down my face, and I felt alive, truly, fully alive, like something inside that had been dormant my entire life had suddenly awakened. The room erupted in quiet celebration. People hugged me, blessed me, and welcomed me. I'd perform wudu thousands of times, ritual washing before prayer, but this washing felt different, like something inside had been cleansed, not just my skin. An elderly woman handed me a towel, her eyes filled with tears. "Welcome to the family, brother." That night we celebrated with a simple meal, rice, chicken, bread, but it felt like a feast, like the prodigal son's return. David gave me a Bible with my name inscribed on the cover. "This is yours, study it. Let it transform you." I held it like treasure, because it was. For 2 days I floated on a cloud. I'd made the decision, I'd been baptized, I was a Christian, I belonged to Jesus. Then reality crashed in. Someone had seen me leaving the house church. Someone who knew someone from my old mosque. Within 48 hours the word had spread. Farouk Ahmed's son has become a Christian, and the phone started ringing. My cousin saw me leaving the church. He called my uncle called my mother. Within 6 hours my phone exploded. I'd kept it off for weeks, but I'd turned it on briefly to check if there were any emergencies. That was my mistake. 37 missed calls, dozens of texts, voicemails. The first was from my uncle. His voice was cold, controlled fury. "Rashid, I know what you've done. I know where you are. You have 48 hours to return home and renounce this insanity. If you don't, you are no longer part of this family, and may Allah punish you for your betrayal." The next was from my mother. Her voice was broken, hysterical. "How could you? How could you do this to me? After everything I've been through, after losing your father, now I've lost you too. Come home, please." Whatever I said that night, forget it. Just come home. My hands shook as I listened. Guilt crashed over me. My mother was suffering because of me. But then I remembered why I'd left, what she'd asked. The jasmine perfume, the hidden tradition. No, I couldn't go back. Not to that. More messages came. Friends, extended family. Even people I barely knew. All variations of the same themes. You've betrayed Islam. You've shamed your father's name. You'll burn in hell. Come back before it's too late. Then came the threats. My uncle again. You've signed your death warrant. Apostasy is punishable by death. The family will do what's necessary. A number I didn't recognize. We know where you are. Christians can't protect you. You will pay for this insult to Allah. Another unknown number. You're a disgrace. We'll find you. We'll make you an example. I showed the messages to David. His face remained calm, but his eyes showed concern. "This is why we have safe houses," he said. "You can't stay here. It's compromised. We'll move you tonight." "I'm sorry," I said. "I've brought danger to you all. This isn't your fault, and it's not the first time. We know how to handle this." That night, they moved me to a different house, different neighborhood, different family. I was told to stay inside, not to use my phone, not to contact anyone from my former life. For 3 days, I hid while David and others worked behind the scenes, trying to assess the threat level. Then came the news that made my blood run cold. My uncle and 4 other men had shown up at the original house church. They demanded I be handed over. When David refused, they threatened to report the church to authorities for illegal conversion activities. In Pakistan, converting Muslims to Christianity is technically legal, but practically dangerous. Blasphemy laws are vague and often weaponized against minorities. A single accusation can lead to mob violence, even if courts eventually dismiss charges. "We're shutting down that location," David told me. "Moving operations. Everyone's safe, but this is serious, Rashid. Your family is actively hunting you. I'll leave, I said. I'll go somewhere else. I don't want to endanger the church. Where would you go? I don't know. Another city, another country, anywhere but here. David studied me for a long moment. There might be an option. We have connections with organizations that help persecuted Christians. They can sometimes arrange safe passage out of Pakistan to Thailand, then potentially resettlement in Europe or North America. My heart raced. Leave Pakistan? Leave everything. But, David continued, it takes time, paperwork, vetting, probably several months. In the meantime, you stay hidden. The next call was the one that broke me, my mother. But her voice was different. Not crying, not begging, cold, final. Rashid, I raised you in Islam. I taught you to fear Allah. I gave you everything, and you've chosen this path. You've chosen to spit on your father's grave. You've chosen to become kafir, an infidel. She paused. You are no longer my son. You are dead to me. Do not call. Do not come home. You have no family anymore. May Allah punish you in this life and the next. The phone clicked off. I sat there staring at the screen, tears streaming down my face. She'd disowned me, my own mother. The woman who'd given me life had declared me dead. David found me an hour later, still sitting in the dark, phone in hand. She disowned me, I whispered. He sat beside me, said nothing for a long time. Then, Jesus warned this would happen. I have come to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother. Anyone who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. It hurts, I said. It hurts so much. I know, I've been there. Many of us have. He placed his hand on my shoulder. But you haven't lost everything, Rashid. You've lost your earthly family, but you've gained an eternal one. We're your family now. And Jesus, He'll never disown you, never. I wanted to believe it, I did believe it, but in that moment all I felt was loss. She said I was dead to her, and in a way she was right. The Rashid she'd known, the Muslim son, the obedient child, he was dead, but I was alive. Terribly, painfully alive. And I realized that for the first time in my life, I was free. Free from her expectations. Free from my father's ghost. Free from Islam's chains. The price of freedom was everything I'd known, but the reward was something I'd never had. Truth. Jesus. Life. The cost of following truth is real. It's not theoretical. It's family, safety, identity. If you're facing this cost, or you know someone who is, don't let them face it alone. Share this story. Subscribe. Be part of the solution. I lived in 4 different homes in 3 weeks. Never staying long. Never using my real name. The Christian underground network in Lahore was more extensive than I'd imagined. Safe houses scattered across the city. Code words. Secret signals. Trusted contacts who moved people like me from place to place like a clandestine railway. I met others. Converts from Islam. Some recent, still raw and terrified. Others years into their journey, scarred but peaceful. There was Fatima, now called Ruth, who'd been beaten by her brothers when they discovered her conversion. She'd lost hearing in one ear from the assault, but said she'd never been more at peace. There was Ali, now called Paul, who'd been a mosque teacher like my father. His wife had divorced him, taken their children, and told them he was dead. He hadn't seen his kids in 5 years. There was Zainab, now called Esther, who'd fled an arranged marriage when she encountered Jesus through a Christian co-worker. She lived in hiding, never staying anywhere longer than a week. Their stories were heart-wrenching, but also inspiring. They'd all counted the cost. All chose Jesus over everything, and none regretted it. I miss my children every day, Ali told me one evening as we shared a simple meal. But I've gained something greater. I know God, not as a distant judge, but as a father. That knowledge is worth every loss. The close calls terrified me. Twice I nearly ran into people who knew me from the mosque. Once my uncle's car drove past the house I was staying in. I watched from a window, heart pounding, as he circled the block before leaving. David was working on my exit from Pakistan. The process was slow. Interviews, background checks, coordination with organizations in Thailand that received refugees. Probably another month, he told me in late September. Maybe 2, but we'll get you out safely. The waiting was torture. I couldn't work, couldn't go outside much, couldn't contact anyone from my old life. I existed in a strange limbo. No longer Muslim, not yet fully integrated into my new life, legally still in danger. I spent most of my time reading the Bible, Christian books, testimonies, learning, growing, and praying. So much praying. Not the ritual prayers of Islam, so 5 times daily, same words, same positions, but conversations with Jesus, with the Father, with the Holy Spirit. I told God everything, my fears, my doubts, my grief, my hopes, and slowly, mysteriously, peace grew. Not absence of struggle, but presence of assurance. The knowledge that regardless of what happened to me, I was held, secure, loved. One night, hiding in a basement in Johar town, I had a moment of doubt. Was this all worth it? I'd lost everything. My family, my home, my security, my identity. I could go back, recant, claim I'd been deceived, return to Islam, be welcome back. It would be easy, comfortable, safe. But then I remembered my mother's bedroom, the jasmine perfume, the hidden tradition, the system that protected that evil and called it holy. And I remembered Jesus, the light in my dream, the scarred hands, the words, "You are mine." I opened my Bible to Matthew 16, Jesus' words to his disciples. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. I'd lost my life, my old life, everything familiar and comfortable, but I was finding something infinitely greater, a life that was truly life, not existence, not survival, but abundant, joyful, purposeful life in Christ. The doubt passed, the temptation faded, and I recommitted. Whatever the cost, whatever the suffering, I would follow Jesus. Then came the message that changed everything. David arrived at my safe house on September 28th with news. We've secured your passage. You leave in 48 hours. My breath caught. Where? Bus to Islamabad, flight to Bangkok, then transferred to a refugee processing center in Chiang Mai, Thailand. From there, possible resettlement to Europe or North America in 6 months to a year. What about here? What about you all? We'll be fine. We've weathered worse. This is what we do, Rashid. We help the persecuted escape. Then we help the next person, and the next. 2 days. I had 2 days to prepare to leave Pakistan forever. To leave everything I'd ever known. Every street, every smell, every memory. I'd never see my mother again. Never visit my father's grave. Never walk through Badshahi Mosque or Shalimar Gardens or Anarkali Bazaar. Pakistan had been my prison, but it had also been my home. The next 48 hours were a blur of goodbyes, the families who'd sheltered me, the converts who'd encouraged me, David, who'd been my spiritual father. You're going to do great things, David told me the night before my departure. Jesus has a purpose for you. This isn't the end, it's the beginning. On September 30th, 2024, before dawn, a car picked me up. They drove me to the bus station, bought my ticket to Islamabad, handed me a small bag with a change of clothes, some money, and my Bible. God be with you, brother, the driver said. The bus pulled away from Lahore as the sun rose. I watched the city disappear behind me, golden light touching the minarets and rooftops. I was leaving everything, but I was taking the one thing that mattered, Jesus, and that was enough. The flight from Islamabad to Bangkok felt like crossing between worlds. One moment I was in Pakistan, land of my birth, my language, my memories. The next I was above clouds, suspended between past and future. I'd spent the 4-hour bus ride from Lahore to Islamabad in silent prayer and reflection, processing, grieving, hoping. At Islamabad International Airport, I was terrified. What if someone recognized me? What if my family had reported me missing? What if authorities stopped me? But I passed through security smoothly. No one looked twice at my passport. No red flags, no alarms. I was just another Pakistani traveler leaving the country. The flight was full, families, businessmen, tourists. I sat by the window watching Pakistan shrink beneath me until it was just a patchwork of browns and greens, then clouds, then nothing. I thought about everything I was leaving. My mother. Despite everything, I still loved her, still grieved for her, still wished things could have been different. My father's grave. I'd never visit it again, never say goodbye properly. The streets of Lahore where I'd learned to ride a bicycle, the mosque where I'd first memorized Quran, the bookstore where I'd worked, the parks where I'd played as a child. All of it gone, behind me, inaccessible. But I also thought about what I was leaving behind in a deeper sense. The fear, the constant anxiety of never measuring up to Allah's standards, the weight of earning salvation through endless works, the lies, the hidden traditions, the system that protected abuse and called it holy, the emptiness, years of prayers to a God who never felt present, never felt close, never felt loving. All of that was also behind me, and I didn't mourn its loss. Bangkok was overwhelming. The heat, the noise, the crowds, the language I didn't speak, the script I couldn't read. But the Christian organization had arranged everything. A contact met me at the airport, drove me to a guest house, explained the next steps. You'll stay here for a few days while we arrange transport to Chiang Mai. There's a refugee processing center there specifically for Christian converts from Muslim countries. They'll help you with asylum applications, language training, job skills, everything. Refugee. The word felt strange. I'd never thought of myself that way. But that's what I was. Fleeing persecution, seeking asylum, stateless. For 3 days I stayed in that Bangkok guest house. The other residents were from all over. Myanmar, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Syria, all running from something, all seeking safety. I spent most of my time reading, praying and processing. The weight of my decision was settling in. I'd really done it, really left everything. Was Jesus worth it? I'd ask myself that question multiple times a day, and every time the answer came back the same. Yes. 1,000 times yes. On the 4th day, they put me on a bus to Chiang Mai, an 8-hour journey north through Thailand's countryside. Rice paddies, mountains, temples with golden spires. The refugee center was simple, a compound of buildings housing about 200 people from various countries. Rooms were shared, meals were communal, resources were limited, but I'd never felt safer. For the first time in months, I could sleep without fear of being discovered, could pray openly, could read my Bible without hiding it, could worship Jesus without looking over my shoulder. The first Sunday there, I attended the church service. About 80 people gathered in a large room. Songs in Thai, English, Arabic, Urdu. Testimonies in multiple languages, translated by volunteers. When they asked if anyone wanted to share, I stood. My voice shook as I spoke in Urdu, with someone translating to English. My name is Rashid. 2 months ago, I was a Muslim in Pakistan, the son of an imam, a Quran teacher. Today, I'm a Christian, a refugee, a follower of Jesus. I paused, emotion overwhelming me. I've lost my family, my home, my country, everything I knew. But I've gained something infinitely greater. I've gained Jesus, and He's worth it. He's worth everything. The room erupted in applause and amends. People wept. Strangers hugged me afterward, sharing their own stories of loss and gain. I realized I wasn't alone. This was my new family, not bound by blood or nationality or culture, but by shared faith, shared suffering, shared hope. The months ahead would be challenging. Paperwork, interviews, uncertainty about where I'd be resettled, language barriers, cultural adjustment. But I was free, truly free, free to worship, free to believe, free to be who God created me to be. One evening, sitting on the roof of one of the center's buildings, watching the sun set over Chiang Mai's mountains, I opened my Bible to a passage in Philippians. But whatever were gains to me, I now consider loss for the sake of Christ. What is more, I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord, for whose sake I have lost all things. I consider them garbage, that I may gain Christ. Paul had written those words from prison. having lost everything for Jesus. Yet he called his losses garbage compared to the treasure of knowing Christ. I understood now, completely. Everything I'd lost, family, home, identity, security, was garbage compared to what I'd gained. Jesus, the way, the truth, the life. And I had eternity to enjoy what I'd gained, while what I'd lost was temporary, fleeting, already fading. For the first time since my father's death, I smiled. Genuinely, fully. I was home, not in a place, but in a person, and he would never leave me. I'm sitting in a small apartment in Chiang Mai, Thailand as I record this. It's December 2025. I've been a Christian for 15 months. The apartment isn't much. One room, shared bathroom, but it's mine. Paid for by my work with a refugee assistance organization that helps other converts from Islam navigate the asylum process. Every day I meet people with stories like mine. Former Muslims who encountered Jesus and lost everything. Young women fleeing honor violence. Former imams who discovered grace. Children disowned by their parents. I help them fill out paperwork, translate documents, share my testimony, pray with them, remind them they're not alone. It's hard work, emotionally draining. Every story rips open old wounds. Every tearful goodbye to someone being resettled elsewhere feels like losing family again. But it's also the most purposeful work I've ever done. I'm using my pain to ease others' pain, using my story to give others hope. The challenges haven't ended. I still wake up some mornings with anxiety, still miss my mother, still grieve what I've lost. There are moments of crushing loneliness, moments when I question if it was all worth it, moments when I wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed. But then I remember the jasmine perfume, the hidden tradition, the weight of Islamic law, the fear, the emptiness, and I remember Jesus. The light in the darkness, the scarred hands, the words, "You are mine." I still pray 5 times a day. Not because I have to, because I want to. Not reciting memorized verses to a distant deity, but talking with a present Father. I pray in the morning, thanking Jesus for another day of freedom. I pray at midday, asking for strength to help those who are suffering. I pray in the evening, processing the day's challenges. I pray at night, resting in His presence. Prayer has become a conversation, relationship, intimacy with the God who loved me enough to die for me. I've started studying theology, learning Greek, preparing to become a pastor someday, helping others who've left Islam find their way to Jesus. The Christian community here has embraced me. I have friends, a church family, people who know my story and love me anyway. Some of them are former Buddhists, former Hindus, former atheists, all of us with different backgrounds, different losses, different journeys, but all of us found the same person. Jesus, the one who says, "Come to me, all who are weary." I got word last month that my asylum application has been approved. In 3 months, I'll be resettled, probably to Canada or Australia. A new country, a new language, a new beginning. I'm excited, terrified, hopeful. But wherever I go, Jesus goes with me, and that's all I need. I think about my father sometimes. Wonder what he'd think of me now. Would he be proud, angry, heartbroken? I'll never know, but I do know this. I'm no longer trying to earn his approval, no longer living under his shadow, no longer defined by his expectations. I'm God's son now, and his approval is secure, not because of what I've done, but because of what Jesus did. I think about my mother too. Wonder if she's still alive, if she ever thinks of me, if she regrets that night. I've forgiven her. It took months, lots of prayer, lots of tears, but I've forgiven her. I understand now that she was a victim too. Victim of a system that twists truth, that calls evil good, that imprisons people in fear and calls it faith. Maybe someday I'll be able to tell her about Jesus, about real love, about freedom. Maybe not. Maybe I'll never see her again in this life. But I have hope that I'll see her in the next. Hope that someday, somehow, Jesus will reach her too. Break her chains. Set her free. If you're watching this and you're trapped in a religion that suffocates you, in a family that controls you, in a belief system that never brings peace. I want you to know something. Freedom is possible. Truth is real. And love, real love, doesn't demand your obedience. It gives you life. Jesus doesn't promise an easy path. He promises a true one. He doesn't promise you won't lose things. He promises he's worth more than everything you'll lose. I've lost my family, my home, my country, my identity, my security. But I've gained Jesus, and he is enough, more than enough. He is everything. This is my story, from darkness to light, from chains to freedom, from death to resurrection. And if he can do it for me, the son of an imam, raised in strict Islam, taught to hate Christians, he can do it for anyone. He's calling you, right now, through this testimony, through these words. Come to me, he says. I will give you rest. Will you come? This is my story, but it doesn't have to be the end. If this testimony touched you, transformed you, challenged you, share it, subscribe. Let's build a community where ex-Muslims, seekers, questioners, and believers can find refuge together. You're not alone. You've never been alone. And the God who found me in the streets of Lahore, he's looking for you too. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And may you find what I found, a love worth losing everything for.